Hello and welcome to another Mixed Media Monday. I'm Eric Scott, and well, not as usual, because I have kind of taken a few weeks off just because I got kind of busy, but I'm back and I'm here to work on some mixed media stuff. But today I thought I'd take a slightly different path with Mixed Media Monday. So typically I've been working kind of on some small mixed media paper just to kind of do some quick little pieces, kind of start to finish. But I want to approach things a little bit differently today. And part of it is that I've been teaching a lot about visual journaling over the last month or so. And one of the things that kind of always comes up is just just how do I work in the journal? Because so many folks are used to just oh, I do a page or I do a 2-page spread. I do that start to finish and then I move on. But that's not my approach. And if you've ever tuned into any of like my live streams or if you've ever taken any of my online virtual journal classes, you know that's not how I work. But I kind of want to maybe do a little bit of Mixed Media Monday and kind of do the same thing and talk about the journal. And it's such a mixed media thing. It's such a part of my process that I want to kind of dive into that today and kind of share just a real quick, easy way of getting into it. Because I think one of the things that I hear all the time with making art in general is I just don't have the time. And I think part of that is that we get wrapped up in like, oh, I need to sit down for hours and hours and hours and work start to finish and start something and keep working on that one thing until it's totally finished. But what I find is that with me and with my journaling and even with my art making, it's always about just having a little bit of time here and a little bit of time in there. And you'd be amazed if you just sit down for a half an hour once a week or twice a week, how much you can do within that half an hour, or just leaving your journal open and finding 5 minutes here and 10 minutes there. So I want to just talk about how I can quickly get working in the journal using just a very simple material. Okay, so grab your, if you want to work around, if you want to work along, grab some materials and let's go ahead and get started. All right, I've got my journal. I work in a really big 11 by 14 inch book, and I just have it open to some random pages, but just to kind of flip through, my pages aren't finished. I mean, I really don't have any pages in this journal that I started just over a month ago. I don't have any pages that I feel are finished, but I want to go ahead and I want to work on things. So, you know, I've got some pages where there's just some paint on them, some pages that are blank, and here's some more paint. And I think I kind of run out and no more paint. So I want to go ahead and use paint today. And this is how I work a lot. I'll sit down with the journal and I grab one material and I work with it on multiple pages. So it's a great way to start pages. It's a great way to add to pages. So I'm just going to, since I have this blank 2-page spread out, go ahead and get some water. And when I'm doing this, I'm just trying to take the blankness away. So just like I might do on that small piece of mixed media paper, I'm just going to scrub down some paint. I'm not going to worry about it being neat and clean and pristine. I'm not worrying about it being even. It can be kind of messy. I'm just going to get some of that paint down, and it's really just to take the blankness away. So this is a great way to kind of engage that blank space. A blank page can be really, really scary. And so this is a great way to kind of just encounter it, engage it, and get something started and not worry about so much about like, oh, how do I, you know, what is this page going to be? So I don't know what this spread is going to be. And so I could take my hair dryer, I could dry it, or I'm just going to turn pages. And so I'm going to flip back through and okay, here's a page where I've already done some paint, did different colors, did some ink. Maybe I want to add to this. So maybe I'm just going to take some of the same green. So I used actually 2 different greens plus a yellow. So if I get some of that green, and I can paint more, or do one of my favorites, I've done this before on Mixed Media Monday, is splattering and having that that nice stiff bristle brush is a great way to kind of splatter, get some more paint. Then I could leave the splatters, or I can work with them and do something else with them. If I wanted to, I could just close the book or turn the page like I did before. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that sit for a moment, and I'm going to grab a folded index card. And the reason I folded this index card was just so I could use it to scrape. And I've already used it before, but it's just kind of gives it a little bit more stiffness to it. And then I can take and just scrape it, and it goes just straight down. And so this creates some streaks, but it doesn't get rid of all the splatters, and giving it a few moments to kind of soak in, the splatters still stay there. But this is a great way to kind of spread the paint, and so then that way I don't have big kind of puddles of water or big droplets of paint there. And then, you know, there I've added some texture to this page. I'm not going to do anything else to it, so let's go ahead and turn back. So you can see I'm kind of working my way back into the book, and I'm just using some paint. So this was a spread that I recently started, and hey, maybe I need to have some color to it, some other color. So I'm going to go ahead and get some yellow. Oh, didn't quite rinse out my brush. Had a little bit of green in it. And so I started this page with some lines I drew with a ruler and a regular pencil. And then I drew some circles with some water-soluble pencil. And now just adding a little bit more paint. This is just going to add some color. And so this allows me to start to build up layers. I don't always start with watercolor, but it's a great way to get some things going. I can cover big areas using a big brush and just a little bit of paint. Okay. So got that going. Now, I think with this, I do want it to dry because I don't want any kind of the wet paint to get over here. I don't want any wet paint to get here. So I'll hit it with the hair dryer, and then I'll do something else. Okay, the page isn't totally dry, but that's okay because I'm not going to stay on this page. I just didn't want any wet paint to transfer. And so, you know, I can kind of flip through. I don't have to do something on every page. But like something like this, there's a lot of white. Now, I have some monsters drawn here. But the nice thing is that the ink I used is waterproof, not water soluble, waterproof. Let's go ahead and grab some different green. And then I can paint over top. I think I'll go right over top of the security envelopes there. So even though I'm just using a single material today, a single medium, it does become mixed media, right? I mean, I've got some ink, I've got some collage, and it's an easy way to build up some layers. I'll use that same color. I've got this writing over here, and so I can just take the paint and go right on top. So I work in this very kind of non-linear fashion. I know most of the, well, all of the Mixed Media Monday uh, episodes so far have been just sort of like working on a single piece. And yeah, I do that. And I like that it's a different way of working. Um, but especially with something this big, and then also just the idea of the journal is that I want to have some color down. Maybe I want to put some paint down and some things happening so I can work on top, or maybe I want to add color to pages that I've already started to start to kind of build up those layers. And so I find that the journal is a great place to kind of just slowly build things, and it doesn't all have to happen at one time. I do want to dry this, so let me grab my hair dryer. And if it's not totally dry, that's okay. All right, so just flipping through, you can see that I have some pages that have quite a bit going on already, some that don't have much at all. I'm just kind of looking for some different spaces to do some different things, just trying to build up. And this, I do this a lot where I just kind of flip through and start kind of thinking, you know what, let's just stop on this page. I'm thinking I want to do something else. So I've done some, I've already done some things on here with water soluble pencil. There is some paint on there that's real kind of light, some collage. But I think what I want to do is to, let me grab a different brush. I want a brown brush, one that I can maybe get some longer lines with. And just deciding what color I want to use. Let's use this one. So I can do lines, I can do shapes. So just painting in some lines, some stripes here. And I don't know what's going to happen on this page. I don't know what the theme is. I know that I started this whenever I was out in Oklahoma doing a workshop out there. So maybe I'll write about Oklahoma, or maybe there's a phrase, or maybe there's something that I want to use to help me remember it, or maybe something totally random and different comes up with this page. So for me, a lot of times with my art, the meaning kind of comes about as I'm working, and I might not have a really super clear idea of what I'm making, or where it's going. But what I find is that whenever I'm just get my hand moving, the ideas start to flow. So I understand, like, okay, this is the beginning of a page. So it's okay that there's not any meaning or any message behind it yet. Other pages, maybe I have a word or a theme that I start with. Okay, so I want to dry these stripes before I move on. just got to thinking like, maybe I want to do a different color. So I've got this, it's a yellowish green. Maybe I just want to put some of that in there. Go ahead and dry that. Let's just turn it and see what else. So a lot of pages that have been started. So I began this journal by taking it to a conference, and some of the pages don't have much going on. So now's a good time to kind of think about like using color to kind of separate things. So if I wanted to think about maybe, these are two separate things. So maybe this gets painted one color, maybe that stays blank for now. Let's use a color I haven't used yet. So this is just a great way to kind of go back and revisit pages and revisit ideas and revisit things. So this conference I went to was a little bit more than a month ago. And so I've spent a lot of time kind of working on new pages and haven't spent a lot of time working on the notes here. And I have some things from the conference. I have papers and brochures and things that I can come back in and glue in and do some other stuff that will kind of, it does kind of take on that scrapbook kind of idea, which is fine. Okay. I think I want a slightly smaller brush. Kind of paint some of this in. So I think oftentimes we feel like, oh, I need to sit down and I need to make, some masterpiece or some great work of art. And I think oftentimes it's just, no, I just need to sit down and make. I need to play around with materials. I need to give myself some permission to just take some time. I think oftentimes when we have those conversations like, oh, well, I'm just playing around and I'm not doing anything substantial. It's just a way to talk ourselves out of being productive, of playing, of making. And so sitting down for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half an hour, and just taking a single material and being able to move back and forth and add here and there, whether it's pages in a book or maybe it's separate little pieces of paper. And then I can come back later and add something else. And so I think that's what I'm going to do over the next several episodes, is just kind of sit down, give myself permission to work in my journal, and just kind of maybe grab a single material and just show how simple it is to get making and get adding things into a journal or into work, and just, slowly kind of building up something. All right, let's go ahead and hit this with the hair dryer. So I'm kind of working back into the front of the book, and here's the very first page. So I've got something going on there. Maybe I want to bring something in over here. Just using a couple different kind of dark greens for this. I'm just going to paint it right over top of that name tag. Right, hit that with the hair dryer. Okay, so I kind of worked my way backwards through the book. I didn't add to every page today, but just sort of kind of going through and adding here and there wherever kind of the mood struck me. And but just to kind of show you how you don't have to sit down and make something from beginning to end, that you can slowly add and build up layers, whether it's in a journal or on separate pieces of paper. But anyway, so that's going to kind of wrap it up for today. And yeah, so hopefully, yeah, sorry, just kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, so that's going to wrap it up for me today. I just wanted to sit down and just really, I've just been working a lot in my journal, like I said, teaching a lot, and just realized that there's so many folks out there that kind of have that mindset of like, okay, I have to sit down and make this page, and then I make that page, and then I turn it and I make that page, and they, you work very much in a chronological order in the book. But for me, it's very different. And so I do often sit down with a single material and add to the book. And it's basically like creating layers, but doing it on a bunch of different pages at one time, and then slowly building up and slowly building up. So like I was saying, that I'm going to over the next few weeks, just kind of come here for Mixed Media Monday and just work with a different material and just kind of show you how you can slowly build. And I usually, well, not usually, but I often think of the journal as kind of this kind of slow accumulation of mark making and meaning making. So just a little bit of a different take, a little bit more of a slow kind of build instead of just sitting down and making a single piece in a single session. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're looking forward to the next few episodes. And please let me know if you ever have any comments or questions, or would like to see me do something, or maybe there's a certain technique or a certain idea that you want me to address in these episodes. I'll be happy to kind of take a look at that and see if it fit into my grand scheme. Not that I have a grand scheme, but anyway, so I hope that you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'll catch you next time. So thank you so much, and as always, happy creating.